Yep. So I appreciate everybody. We are still putting in the chat where you are joining us from, and we are going to be transmitting on YouTube here shortly, and we will start rolling. So tonight's topic, very huge and very big in the corporate side, and I mean in the cyberspace. So stay put. And I know most of you might probably have some experience on the or have experienced, these type of attacks. So we are going to discuss this shortly here. And Eretmis, so like last week, about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks, we've experienced another variant of it. So that is all up for discussion. So we are going to jump in here real quick. But before we do, let's make sure we are sharing our slides, and then we are going to jump onto YouTube here shortly. Welcome everyone once again. We are officially starting, and you are almost welcome. Welcome to Eretmis Cyber Chat. We do this every Friday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. And like I always say, it's Friday night. You could have been anywhere else, doing a whole host of other things, but you chose to be here to share in the knowledge with us. So we appreciate your help. We appreciate your support, and we are going to make sure the hour and a half you spend with us is going to be very informative. And for all our cybersecurity professionals and aspiring cybersecurity professionals, we are going to discuss today is going to help you, and it's going to be something that you can, keep in your toolbox for you as a professional, and then also personally it is going to help you to stay on the right side of or on the good side of security and have the skills and knowledge to be able to overcome some of these attacks or some of these malicious, actors who might try to steal your information or compromise your information in one way or the other. So you are welcome. We are live on YouTube as well. And for tonight's topic, we are going to be discussing business email compromise, BEC. It's one of the fastest growing types of attacks in the business space for and against companies. And it is also one of the for attackers. It is one of the lucrative or very profitable forms of attacks, right? So for the side that is being attacked or that is the victim, it is not so good. But for the side that is doing this is very lucrative because some of it they can get away with millions for just one attack. So we are going to be discussing, much more about this, what it is, and a lot of things that goes into it. So you are welcome. This cyber chat is brought to you by Eretmis Academy, a cybersecurity training institute based out of New York, and I am going to be your instructor or presenter for tonight. I'm Dr. Emmanuel Edu. I'm a former United States Army captain. I'm a QSA, PCI QSA for Eretmis Inc. Eretmis Inc. is a QSA company based out of New York, and I'm also the CEO of Eretmis Inc. We also conduct various cybersecurity projects, and we work on different cybersecurity contracts as well. I'm also the founder of Eretmis Academy that is bringing you cyber chats. So we are, Eretmis Academy is also partners with CompTIA. So what does that mean to you? If you want to sit for any of the CompTIA security, security certifications, we have a 20% discount that we give to everyone who shows up to Cyber Chat, and then to the rest of our Eretmis family. You are welcome to reach out, and we will help you get the 20% discount on any of the exams vouchers. And then also for continuous educational points, if you have any certifications and you want to renew your certification, you don't necessarily have to sit for the exam again. There is another way that you can recertify, that is called using the continuous education path. And for cyber chats and other educational webinars that you are going to attend in the security space, you can use it towards your educational points and use that to certify to recertify for your certifications. So that is also something to look into if you are looking to recertify. And we have a WhatsApp group. We are going to post the link in the chat for everybody who is not already a member. The link to this chat and every other activities that goes on within the Eretmis family is posted on there. And there is a lot of good discussion about security that also goes in the group. We are almost like 1,000 in the group now. I think 950 or something. So it's a good group, a big group, very supportive. So kindly, if you're looking to get into the security space and you're looking to network, it is a good place to do that. So you can join the WhatsApp group. And then also on YouTube, our YouTube channel is growing really fast. We put everything we do cyber chats on there. So you can get all the previous cyber chats on our YouTube channel. And please do subscribe and share it with other folks who might be interested in learning more about security and other security topics, such as the one that we are going to discuss tonight. So for tonight's discussion, we are going to jump into business email compromise. But before we do, I will love for at least 2 people from the group to give us an update on any cyber news that happened during the week. So you can raise your virtual hand and we will give you the floor. Please go ahead. Whoever goes first, get $5. Go ahead, Eric.
Thank you, Dr. Adu. This week in the news, the Change Healthcare made the news because it affected most of our pharmacists in US because they got hacked. So now most of the CVS or Walgreens, they are affected because of that.
Okay, and do you know what type of attack that was?
Unfortunately, I don't have yet too much information, but I'm not sure if anybody connected has any update from the investigations. Don't have yet any update regarding that attack.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Eric. Anybody else has any cyber news worth noting? Go ahead, Frank. You are muted.
I'm not actually. Yeah, Doctor, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So I think another big one was the AT&T outage on Thursday, and everybody thought it was a cyber attack whatsoever, but it the update we received yesterday was it was due to an error in coding on their end. So
okay,
that was a cyber attack.
Okay, and like what was the effects of that on businesses and in terms of
it was really big. I mean, AT&T is big in terms of coverage because I think they have over 240 million customers in the US. So the market share they are kind of big. So that was a big thing right there. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I think like Samuel unmuted himself. Did you have something to say, Samuel? Or
Yeah, I was about to say the AT&T crisis that happened on, I think on Wednesday I was going to work and I found out my phone wasn't working. So I think it came out that it was a DDoS attack. That is the distributed denial of service attack, which that is availability, right? And then there is no there is no service. So I was like, I thought that maybe my phone was like misbehaving. So I kept turning off my phone, turning it back up. So I went to work and I asked my boss, hey, what is going on? Because our biggest internet service is AT&T. And then they said, okay, there was a nationwide outage, so they are trying to fix it. But I dig into it, and they said it's a DOS, that is distributed denial of service attack.
Oh, DDoS attack.
DDoS attack, yeah.
Okay, and then Frank was also saying AT&T came out and said it was an update, like a glitch in their system.
Yeah. Initially, they thought it was an attack, but just today it came on the news to explain, but they didn't give details as to what coding error happened.
Oh, okay.
Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, great. Anybody else with some?
It sounds like it wasn't just AT&T. Some other carriers also got affected.
T-Mobile is one of them too, though.
AT&T was the biggest hit, but then according to the information that is coming through the news today, it wasn't a cyber attack. It was due to some kind of update that was past due, and it just came into that. That's why. But it seemed like AT&T was the one that got hit the most severe because of the updates.
Okay.
It's not. I don't think it's a DOS like they said.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just anyway.
Okay. Thank you, Andrew. Like, yeah, and it's very like mostly when this happens, right? AT&T just goes down. The first thought is, are they under attack, right? And for the service to be down, obviously our minds will go directly to a DDoS attack because that is what attacks availability, right? But also for attackers to take down AT&T, what do you really get? I mean, it's going to be a very big inconvenience for them, but as an attacker, you are not going to get paid that way, right? Unless, of course, you probably hit them with ransomware and you hijack their whole entire network and they have to pay you to on hijack their network, right? So for attackers, for certain types of attacks, if it is not like a hacktivist that is just trying to make a point, but they really want to make money out of this DDoS attack, they don't really go that route. Right? So go ahead, Reginald.
Yes, there was a change in healthcare. Cyber attack causes significant disruption. Change healthcare is experiencing network disruption after taking system offline in response to a cyber attack.
Okay. Yeah, I think that was what Eric was also talking about.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
No, thank you. Like you also gave more details. Barbara, go ahead, and then we are going to move on.
So I think I have the same thing as the pharmacy with the Department of Defense. For some days now, the pharmacy has been down, so no processing of medicine, and for like the urgent medicine, they have to do paper scripts, and
wow.
There's a lot of rumors about it being a bigger nation trying to do this, because even the service on my base military post is kind of really, really slow. So it's scary because people's information can be out there, and obviously it's classified because it's the DoD. Yeah, but that's the situation right now.
Oh, wow. Thank you for that update, Barbara. Olan, go ahead. You have the floor and we are going to move on.
Yes. Good evening, Doctor. I just want to say something concerning the DDoS attack that you are trying to say. I sometimes had like a coach taking or said so they are trying to for so I need to get them virtually. So he said get crossing one of them has to win the contract. By so doing, he wants to disturb the other person's network from not reaching them, whereby he will be the only one that reaches them. So it was like so he was now telling me the attack. Say attack will be done is the network of the other guy would not be available or with too much traffic, whereby it would not be, they will not have access.
Oh, I think Olan was coming in very broken. I'm not sure. He probably went offline. All right. So when Olan comes in, we will give him the chance to finish his story. So we are going to move into our topic for tonight. Tonight we are looking at BEC attacks, and before we jump into it, the actual definitions and all that, let's look at some case studies. And this case studies, all of it, we just limited it to Eretmis Inc. Right. So I think sometime last week, yeah, this is not even sometime last week. I think it was this week. So if you check this email out, so this is an email that we receive in real time, right? And I think this was directly to me. And I'm going to give a big, like a little background story to this. Now, just looking at the email or looking at what we have on here, who is familiar with DocuSign? And like, what is it used for? And have you used it before to sign documents?
Yeah.
I have.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think almost all documents that we sign today is either through DocuSign or some other versions of DocuSign, right? And everybody is familiar with this. You are going to receive it once in a while if you are filling application somewhere or you opening a bank account. You are going to. So we are all familiar with this. Now, for the companies like ours, Eretmis and others, we deal with this on daily basis more so than individuals, right? So when you receive like emails like this, especially if you are in a position like me, sometimes you are just flooded with emails, so you're going to look at it. Okay, probably thinking is if you don't pay attention, you might think it's something that they sent you for you to sign. So you just want to get everybody off your back, your special assistants and HR and everybody else. So you are just going to go ahead and click on it. Okay, I think I have to mute everybody. Okay, so click on it and then go ahead and sign, and you are good. But you have to pay attention, right? Now let's examine this real quick. So first off, I wasn't expecting any email from or any document to sign from this email address or this person. So I got this and I'm like, okay, hold on. I get these emails a lot just to go ahead and sign. Now, when you look through, if you look at like whoever this is addressed to, so it was sent to me from this email address. Now it says on here, if you read this, it's very vague. Please review and sign the service agreement document for your company, right? We are now asking for one signature on behalf of all participants related to your party. This is a change from our prior practice of sending the form to all counsel and your clients. We hope to find this new practice easier and more convenient, right? This is really not saying anything. It's very vague. So this, if you click on review document, do you know what is behind review document here? We really don't know, but we know one thing for sure. is a form of attack. And this is an example of business compromise, business email compromise attacks. Now, as if this wasn't enough, we have other case studies. So this is also, I think, like the other portion of, like the last portion of the email. So you can see that way, like you can see it really well. Powered by, I mean, this is not really powered by a DocuSign. They just made this up. Right now, there's another one similar to the first one, and this is also the subject here is sign and seal, sign and seal completed, awaiting your approval. And this doesn't really say anything. It just says received by Emmanuel Edu and my email. And then please review document. So this is financial statement. What I mean, and financial statement from who? Or who? Right? Like I said, if you don't pay attention, you are just going to click on review and just go through. And so when you click on review, it's not going to take you through the normal DocuSign page where you will see the form that you are supposed to sign, and you are going to click through and sign it and date it, and it's going to be sent back to whoever sent it. Now check the email or address also as well. Who is this? Right? This email, I'm not expecting an email from. This is an unsolicited email. But if you don't pay attention, because you've been signing these on daily basis, you might assume it is from one of your clients or one of your third parties that you are working with, right? So this is also another example of business email compromise. And this is the last one. So when you look at this one, check the email out, right? Check the email. Now, when we go to the last one, check the email. And it's coming from the same automated alert from whoever this email belongs to. So this is all, like, this is a bogus email anyways. It is all pre-generated through whatever phishing email that they are using, whatever like phishing solution that they are using, sending this out, right? So we are not using somebody else as a case study. This happened, and this was sent on the 22nd also as well, on the 21st this month, right? So what we are going to look at tonight is not something that is really far out there that cannot happen to you or your company. It is happening on a daily basis. So just be cautious. Now with this, we are going to jump into what business email compromise is by definition, right? So business email compromise is a type of cyber attack whereby the scammers will use email, like what we just saw, to trick someone into sending them money or disclosing some confidential information or taking over your laptop or your desktop or your whole entire network, right? So they trick you and they make it look familiar, like they will use a trusted figure. DocuSign is a trusted figure. We use it on a daily basis, and they will present something to you like what we saw, or they'll present to you some fake bill. And if you are not paying attention, you are going to fall for it, right? It doesn't mean you are stupid. You just have to, or you are dumb, right? People who fall for these, they are not stupid or dumb by any means, but it's just attention to detail, right? You might be busy throughout the day. You might be, stressed out. You might be, okay, let me just sign this and get it over with, right? Because even for me, when I got these emails, I had to look at it twice because I almost clicked on it because I'm used to it. I'm in that mood the whole time. Well, let me just sign this and get it off my table. So this business email compromise is a very lucrative form of attack for attackers because of the people who are involved, right? And we are going to look at the people who are targets for these type of attacks. So statistically for 2023, some schools of thought or some research that have been conducted, these attacks, they almost quadrupled. right? In terms of not just like the number, but like success rate, right? So these scams, they've been increasing because of also remote work since 2020 after COVID, when, everybody was working from home and 90% of, companies still are doing remote work. That has really fueled this type of attack, right? And for this type of attackers, they try to circumvent your, common sense and the traditional security measures that we normally will have in place. They leverage social engineering tactics and techniques, and they are able to. That is how, they become very successful in these attacks, right? So purely through email, they will use anything and everything. They are very creative also as well, just like what we saw in the case study for Eretmis Inc. So how does it really work? They will send you an email. So first off, whom are they really targeting? We are going to look at the people within organizations that they are targeting. Obviously, they are targeting the big people at the top. And then also, so the people at the top we will call whales when it comes to phishing attacks. When it comes to phishing, people at the top or people within C-suite is whaling, right? So, and why is it easy for them to get, top management or people within the C-suite? So like your CISO, CFO, and the rest. Why is it so easy for scammers to be able to attack them or use them in the attacks? Maybe 2 or 3 people want to chime in. How easy or how hard is it to get information on people within the C-suites? Go ahead, Dion.
Because they have access to major parts of the company, usually financially or something, and they're very busy. So the threat actors use that to their advantage.
Yes. And then also like getting information about the CEO, the CFO, how hard is it? I mean, getting their email address, getting their phone numbers, their names, their pictures. How hard or easy is that? Go ahead, Nebuch.
It's not very hard because a lot of times that information is publicly accessible. Yeah, it's not very hard.
Yes, true. Eric, go ahead.
It's very easy. Few clicks on the internet. Even if you go on LinkedIn and you know the name of the company, you have all of them. So it's very easy.
Yes. So, and then also, if I was an attacker and I wanted to, have a very big payday, I'm not going to pose as anybody else in the company who really is not a mover or shaker in the company. If I pose as somebody who is a mover and shaker in the company, like a CFO and the rest, I'm able to, like, the likelihood that my scam is going to work if I, craft it well is higher than if I'm posing as somebody who is, in the accounting department, right? Or in just like the finance or HR department, right? And like Eric rightly said, getting information about, if you go to every company's website, 9 out of 10, you're probably going to get the pictures and the email addresses and the names of all these, at least the CEO and the CFO and those folks, right? They are almost on all websites. It's very easy to identify who is who. And they do that to kind of show their leadership and to let you put, name to faces. But attackers also use that to their advantage, right? Because they are easily able to, what attackers do is they will research and find, people in top management within the company, and they will craft their scams around them, right? So they are going to pose or they are going to assume the identity of these people and they can also spoof their email address or get an email address domain that is similar, maybe 1 or 2 letters off, and they will use that to send emails to people within, maybe the financial department or HR, instructing them to take a certain type of action, right? So they can even go to the extent of creating a fake website and registering a company, similar to the one that they are trying to, play this attack on, right? They can register like similar company or a company with the same name in a different country, right? When it comes to company registration and having that name, if I'm registering in a different jurisdiction, I'll be allowed, even if you have the same name elsewhere, right? So, and then they will register a domain name, on any of these domain sites, and then get an email through that, right? And even sometimes for the emails, so let's say I'm reusing Eretmis, john@eretmis.com. I can have an alias, which is probably going to be John at maybe Amazon.com. That is redirected to Eretmis. That is redirected to John at Eretmis.com, right? So you might see the email as being from Amazon, but it's really not. Right? So they have ways of doing that. Now, that is so for these attacks, they'll first do their research on their targets, and they'll figure out how to fake the identity of their targets, and they will create sometimes fake websites, register company names, and do a whole host of other things within that space. And all that they are doing is to be able to fake or to claim the identity of somebody within the company who has power and authority, right? And once they have access to the email, or they have access, they've been able to actually compromise the email of one of the C-suite or one of the top management people, or they've created a fake email similar to maybe the one from the CEO and the rest. They then will use that to send their malicious emails to unsuspecting folks within the company, right? So, and they are also able to follow the patterns between conversations going back and forth, right? And I've really witnessed like more than 2 of such, scams that the attackers almost pulled it off, whereby they will intercept email traffic going back and forth, on between 2 companies. And when the transaction is almost about to, when they're about to wrap up the transaction and they are expecting an invoice, the attackers will send an invoice instead. And before they send the invoice, they will let you know they've changed their bank account. So, just be aware when we send the invoice, don't pay to this one that we normally do. It's going to go to this one, the new one that they have. So companies will part away with millions of dollars before they realize that was an attack. So this form of attack, really huge. So everything that we are talking about, examples is what we've given here, right? So the email can be off by a letter. It can be off by 2 letters. They can even, have the email go to via a different email. So it's very easy for them to, come up with all these. Now, when you receive an email and it's from, it looks like it's from the original email website from PayPal or Amazon or any of those, please don't take it at face value, right? Mostly when you click on reply, you are going to see the actual email that they are using, not the email that they are using to post. So that is how they are able to pull some of these scams off. So now let's look at the targets, or like target of business email compromise. So who are they really targeting? This type of attacks, who are they really targeting within the company? So anyone can be a target. That is true. They are targeting businesses, governments, non-profits, schools, and the rest. And for people within these companies or these institutions, they are targeting executives or people within leadership, right? Because these people, they are very public, Yeah, of like very often all the information, like we just discussed, all the information is in the public space. So you can easily get their information and use that to come up with different types of scenarios, right? And then they also target people within the financial department. So such as controllers and people who actually, administer payments. So accounts payable staff also, they are the ones with bank details and payment methods and account numbers. So they target them as well. HR, folks within HR, they are also big targets because they are the ones with social security numbers and tax information and all that, and schedules and all that, and contact information. And then also new and entry-level employees. If you just go to the company, you probably don't have access to their network or you don't know much. So it's very, you are unable to really verify maybe an email to see whether it is legitimate or not, right? So before you realize, they pull the first one on you before you'll be able to even, really ascertain whether whatever they were, or verify from somebody whether what you are dealing with was actually from the company or not. Now, we are going to look at the types of business email compromise. So there are different types, right? Although it is not just one, one form of attack, but there are different, variants within that form of attack. Now, the first one that we are going to look at is data theft, and the next one is CEO fraud. The next one is account compromise, false invoice schemes, and lawyer impersonation, right? So let's jump into it individually. Look at them. So with data theft, the scammers or the attackers, they will be targeting HR to steal information such as your social security numbers, phone numbers, schedules, and all that. Now, based on that, they are able to craft the different types of scenarios they are going to use for the attack, right? So for these type of attacks, they always have to come up with a story. They have to know what is going on to be able to use that to the advantage, right? If I don't know what is going on within your company and I just send you an email saying it's from the CEO, or, like the CEO says, go ahead and pay Eretmis Inc. $50,000, and you've not done any business with Eretmis Inc., you're probably going to ignore that email. But if you are actually, Eretmis Inc. is performing a PCI DSS audit on your company, and you receive an email saying that, hey, Eretmis, they've changed their policy, or like they changed their payment methods. They are using this type of payment method, and we have to pay them maybe half of the amount they are charging for the contracts they are doing for us. So go ahead and issue, do a wire transfer to this account for Eretmis. Because of that familiarity, you're actually working with Eretmis. The attackers might be successful in that space. So they have to learn about what is going on within the company. Now, and if they get information from HR, they'll be able to use that accordingly. Now, let's look at the CEO fraud type of BEC. So with a CEO fraud type, what they do is they spoof, or they'll hack into the CEO's email account, and then they will send emails to employees within the company instructing them to make purchases or to send wire transfers to different, accounts and for different purchases, and then also to even buy gift cards and the rest and send them photos of the serial numbers and others. But for this type of attack, or like this variant of it, for scammers who are well sophisticated and they know what they are doing, they are not going to be asking for gift cards. Those folks, they are hitting the millions, right? So this is the CEO type, where they will spoof or they will hack into the CEO's email, and they'll be using that to send, email. If you receive an email from the CEO instructing you to do something, most people will do it before they reach out to the CEO to ask, is that really you? Trying to tell me, are you sure I should send this wire transfer to this company, right? If let's say you work in accounting department or like in the finance department, you are maybe one of the controllers, and you've been instructed this is directly coming from the CEO to pay somebody, right? Mostly you wouldn't necessarily just circle back and say, are you sure I should pay this person? I mean, if it's not sure, why did he send you the email, or why did she send you the email? But now with this knowledge that you're acquiring right now, you know, you can easily circle back and ask them, hey, I received this email from, and you're not going to reply to that email. You're actually going to either call, or you are actually going to, if you work in the same space, or find somebody who is close to the CEO who can verify that for you, right? Without necessarily just sending it, and because you are following the chain of command, right? That is how attackers win. When people are too stiff and you receive something that you think, this doesn't seem right, but then you just want to follow the chain of command and not say anything and just go ahead and execute. That is where attackers, will win. And the next one we are looking at is account compromise. So account compromise is where the attackers will use phishing or malware. Like phishing, they will use phishing or malware to get access to the financial, to the email of an employee within the finance department, and they will use such accounts to also, execute a lot of fraudulent activities, such as making transfers or sending fake invoices to suppliers. And the fake invoices will be an actual invoice from the company. What is fake about it is the bank details that are on there is what they are going to change, right? So when they send it to, if like Eretmis receives an email from a third party we work with, we have a lot of them, right? They'll send us an invoice, we'll go ahead and pay. And if an attacker is supposed to intercept or compromise their email and send us an invoice like we normally do, which is business as usual, chances of us going ahead and paying is about 95%, right? When they send it, we don't go back and ask, are you sure this is from you? We will pay and everything clears, and they send another one, monthly we'll pay. So if an attacker is able to get in between the two entities, and they are in on the conversation the whole time, they will be able to pull, this off. So always we have to. So for us, how we go about this, when we receive the invoice, the ones that are not really time bound, we will just maybe allow a week, right? Maybe if that was a fake one, the real one is going to come in. Mostly, they will just do a follow-up with an email, and we will know for sure, okay, yeah, this is it. So that is our way of kind of checking and making sure we are not falling victim to this. Now, the next type of BEC scam is the false invoice scheme, which is which they can pull off when they are able to compromise your email. So they will also pose as a legitimate vendor that works for your company. They will send you a bill, or they will send you an invoice of something that you have to pay. And if you don't take care and you just go ahead and pay, then you just fell for their scheme. The last one is lawyer impersonation. So most companies, they deal with lawyers on a regular basis. So attackers, when they are able to compromise accounts or like the email of lawyers or a law firm, they can pose, or they can even spoof the email address of a law firm, and they can pose to be from a law firm, and send you some bills. If they are in on the conversation between you and the law firm, they will have you pay them before the law firm comes for their money, right? So these are some of the types of business email compromise scams that are out there. So we are educating ourselves. We have to be on the lookout for such attacks. Now, what are some of the dangers of this? So for companies, this is very dangerous in terms of everything, right? In terms of goodwill, in terms of your stocks going down, money-wise. So companies can lose millions, thousands, and millions of dollars through this. And it's not like they can. Companies have lost millions of dollars through this type of attacks. And they also will lose customers information, so customers, PII. And when you do that, you are not just losing companies' PII, but you are losing the customers as well, and the goodwill that you've established between you and your customers. And then also, for such attacks, if it borders on compliance, your company can be fined, your company can be sued, by your customers, and also can be fined by any organization that you are not in compliance with, whatever like whatever compliance regulation or compliance framework that you have to stay in, right? Microsoft blocked almost 32 billion email threats in 2023, right? So you can imagine, I mean, that is what they blocked. They were able to block. What about the ones that were able to, slip by? So if they were able to block 32 billion, so if maybe probably 1% of this 32 billion was able to, go through, and 1% of that was successful, and attackers were able to make away with like $100,000 per each of these. You can do the math, right? So for some companies, I know some law firms in New York that lost almost $2 million through such through business email compromise, right? And there are a lot of them in the news that you can look up when it comes to this type of attack, right? So what are some of the examples, and how do they pose? We are going to look at some of it. So examples of BECs. So one, like the type that says pay this bill urgently, right? If you see any such emails, just be on the lookout. Now, sometimes if they are a bit skilled, it's not going to be that obvious. So that is where you have to really pay attention to details. So this email will say they work for your company or you're in the financial department. You get an email from your CFO, whose email probably have been compromised, with an urgent request about an overdue bill, but it's not actually from your CFO. A scammer pretending to be from your CFO will send this. And they also make it look like it is time, it's very urgent. It is time sensitive, so they'll put you in that uneasy frame, and you might probably not be thinking right, and you go ahead and pay this. And then next, they're asking you, why did you pay this invoice? And the money will be long gone by then, right? These scammers, they are very smart with the money. They will move it from one point to the other. You wouldn't be able to even trace it. Now, the second example we will look at is, what's your phone number? So a company executive emails you, I need your help with a quick task. Send me your phone number and I'll test you, right? Now, testing feels safer than than personal emails. So the scammer hopes to test them payment information or sensitive information. And this type of attack is not phishing, it's smishing. So it's phishing via SMS, right? And we looked at this when we discussed social engineering attacks a while ago on Cyber Chat. Now, another example of how these, form of attacks are being pulled off is lease. Your lease is about to expire. Your subscription is about to expire. Anything that is going to put you on the edge of your seat. I mean, that is okay. So what should I do? Right? That is where they get you. Right? So this is also one way that they are going to catch your attention eventually. And sometimes they even send you a bill. So aside the lease aspect, when it comes to the bill part that we just looked at, they'll send you an invoice that looks like a paid invoice. So thank you for making this payment and all that, but then you've not paid anything. So if you have any questions, call this number on the invoice. When you call, that's it. They have you on a whole different roller coaster going back and forth on some nonsense that they've crafted for you, right? So now let's look at another example. So this is also one similar to what we looked at for the case study, but some of the emails will look like this. They will send this, trying to have you reconfirm your phone number or something, those lines. So after knowing about these forms of attacks, or this, like the different variants of it, how do we really prevent ourselves from a BEC? What are some of the tips and tricks that we can use to prevent ourselves from this? One, we have to use multi-factor authentication. We have to awareness training. So teach our employees to spot such attacks way ahead of time before they actually materialize, right? Set security defaults, use email authentication tools, adopt a secure payment platform, right? So we are going to look at this one after the other. So, but before we do, I would like to take some inputs from everybody on here. So when we talk about using a multi-factor authentication, what do we mean? And what is Go ahead, T. Daniels.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So a multi-factor authentication would be a text message to your phone, or maybe a instant number generating key fob or something of that nature.
Okay.
To add on to your maybe your username and password, and it would be an item that you only possess, thereby eliminating the possibility that it can be someone else.
Great. Right on the money. Great input. Thank you. Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, factor is what usually most of people they know when you use a password to have authentication. That is a one factor, is what we can say, like a simple factor. But when we are talking about multi-factors, it means what you may have or what you may be, where you could be. Those, when you use those multiple factors, it means the probability for the hacker or the criminal to know your password and what you have or who you are is very low. So that is to reduce the risk of getting into your account. So which means I may have my username and password and then have the code as my previous the person who was talking was saying a code was sent to my phone. No one has that phone except me, or maybe I may use an application. So that's why we are talking about multiple factors.
Thank you, Eric. I think there was okay. So another hand was raised, but it's been lowered. So when we talk about multi-factor authentication, it falls directly under an area of cybersecurity called identity and access management. So under identity and access management, we have authentication, and under authentication, we have factors of authentication. So what are factors of authentication? 5 main factors of authentication. Anybody knows that of it? Go ahead, Prince.
I think it's something you know, something you have, something you are, something you do, and I think I forgot the last one.
Somewhere.
Somewhere you are.
Yes. So for everybody, we are all very familiar with passwords. So we just, when we create an account anywhere, it's your username and password, right? Now, the password aspect is one factor of authentication, right? So for every system, every resource that we want to have access to, we have to authenticate, or we have to be authenticated to be able to get, on there, right? Now, after authentication, we move into authorization, but we are just sticking to authentication. Now, password is one factor, and mostly our first line of defense is our passwords, right? So we have different factors of authentication. A while ago, we were just using password. We were just using one factor of authentication, which was just our password. we came to realize that different forms of attacks, such as this one, makes our password as our only line of defense very weak. So why not add a couple more of the factors of authentication? So like T. Daniel said in the beginning, instead of just typing in your password to get authenticated, once you type, you are still going to use your password. But once you type in your password, the system is going to send you a pin on your phone. Or you probably have to use like an authentication app. So like Google Auth, or like you have like a FAB key that generates the authentication keys. So you're just going to type that in, right? So when we use two factors of authentication, we are using what we call the dual factor authentication or two-factor authentication. When we use more than two, then we are using multi-factor. Right? So when we use multi-factor, an attacker can compromise our password. They can have our password, but they don't have our cell phone. They can have our password, but they don't have our fingerprints, right? They can have our password, but they don't have our FAB key that we are using to generate that extra factor of authentication. Right? So it is good for us to, when we use multi-factor authentication, attackers wouldn't be able to get onto or compromise our email in the first place. Right? Now, teaching our employees or and taking them through awareness training is most often is our first line of defense, right? If you know what to look out for, you are not going to fall victim to such exploits. Now, let's jump into, so for the tips of what we are going to be doing to prevent this from happening or to prevent BEC attacks, we have to use a secure email solution. So obviously, Microsoft Outlook is one of the good email solutions out there. It comes with some inbuilt software like Proofpoint that can be used for protecting your email and kind of shielding you. We have, so for our normal emails such as Yahoo, Google, and the rest, they are also very, very secured email solutions, right? Sometimes I think they are even more secure than some of the paid versions. I mean, Yahoo and Google, they have paid versions, but the free versions are as secured as some of the paid versions that are out there, right? And if you are using a secured email solution, most of these suspicious emails will be blocked. They'll be red flagged. They'll be sent to your spam, right? So you wouldn't even have the chance of seeing them. Now, setting up your multi-factor authentication, we discussed that already. So using more than two factors of authentication, so using your fingerprint together with your password and together with a PIN that is going to be sent to your phone or something on those lines. Now, I have a trick question. And I'm going to let you know this is a trick question. If I'm using a password, right, for my email, and I'm using facial recognition as well, and I'm using my fingerprints as well, am I using multi-factor authentication? Is this multi-factor authentication?
Yes.
Yes, you are.
No,
Yes.
it's dual because two of them are biometric. Two of them are
Yeah.
something else.
So I said it's a trick question, so you have to pay attention. So for multi-factor authentication, you have to use more than two factors of authentication. Now, if I'm using a password, that is something I know, right? I know my password. If I'm using my fingerprints, it's something I am, something you are. If I'm using facial recognition, that is still something you are, right? So I can use three items, but all of it will fall under one factor of authentication. So for example, yes, for example, if instead of I'm not using a password, but I'm using my biometrics, facial recognition, and then my voice. authenticate? Am I using multi-factor authentication here?
No.
No, single.
No,
Single
single.
factor.
Right. So like I'm doing a lot of things that might deceive you. You might think, oh yeah, he's doing 3 things, so it's multi-factor authentication. No, it doesn't work that way.
Okay, I have a question for you.
Yes, go ahead.
So there are several types of multi-factor authentication, right? So one could be the biometric that you were talking about, facial recognition, maybe your fingerprint. That's biometric, but it's still a multi-factor authentication because it's a type of multi-factor authentication.
No, it is not. Multi-factor authentication, you have to pull from something you are, something you know, somewhere you are, something you do.
Yep.
So you have to pull from one of the factors.
Okay.
Right? We have 5 factors. You have to pull from one of them. So you have to pull from 3 of them to be able to say you are using multi-factor. If you pull from 2 or you pull 3 different ways from 1, you are still using one factor of authentication.
Dr. Eddie, can I make a quick comment?
Yes, go ahead.
Like you always say, you said when you want to understand the meaning of something, you just look at what it says. So when you say multi-factor, it means you are pulling from different. You have to look at multiple factors. So that way you can easily understand it. If you say single factor, then it's coming from just one factor. So that's what I'm trying.
Yes. Then if you say dual factor or 2 factor, you are picking just 2 factors of authentication. We have 5 factors of authentication in total, right? So like I was saying, even for certification exams, they will trick you. For all certification exams in cybersecurity, all of them will have at least 6 or 5 or 6 questions on multi-factor authentication. And they will try to trick you, list a lot of things. And if you are not really, you don't pay attention, you might think, okay, I'm using facial recognition, I'm using a password, and then I'm using my fingerprints. So it's a multi-factor authentication. It's not. It's a dual factor authentication or 2-factor authentication. So because under something you are, your facial recognition is something you are. Your fingerprints are something you are. Your voice is something you are. Right? Anything on you is something you are. So we can pick everything on you, which is going to be maybe 5 or 6 different things. They are all something you are. That doesn't make it multi-factor or dual factor. It is still under one factor, right? So same example, you can have a password. That is something you know. You can also have a PIN. That is also something you know, right? So if I have a PIN, I have a password, they are all something I know. Or on the other side, if we get into something you have, maybe if you send me a PIN on my cell phone, it's something I have. If I'm using like an authentication code that is being generated by your app on your phone or by an RSA app key, all of it still falls under something you have, right? So doing so many things doesn't make it multi-factor or dual factor. So that is some lesson for all of us tonight. Any questions on that before we move on?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. So, Professor, what is an example, real quick again, of multi-factor?
An example of multi-factor?
Yes.
Okay, so let's go to the basics and then we'll pick from each of the factors, right? So we know we have something you have is one of the factors. So under something you have, I can have a cell phone that a PIN is being sent onto the cell phone, right? Like a one-time code or a one-time password is being sent onto the cell phone, right? Or I can have an RSA FAB key that generates, every second or every whatever seconds, it generates some numbers, and I'm going to input those numbers into, like whatever that I have to input that into, right? All of that is something you have. So
Right.
we will pick one from that space. So when we pick one, maybe we will pick the cell phone. They are sending us a one-time code on the cell phone. So that is one factor of authentication. Now, password is something you know, right? Anything that we know predetermined already in our memory that we are going to input is something we know. So password or passphrase, we can pick password or passphrase. So that is also one factor of authentication. So now we have two. Now the next one, we can pick something you are. So something you are is something on your person. So your face, your eyes, your voice, all of that is something, your fingerprints. So we can pick your fingerprints. We can pick your phone that we're going to send a PIN to. So your fingerprint is one factor of authentication. Your password that you know is also one factor of authentication, falls under one factor of authentication. And then your phone that we're going to send a one-time PIN to falls under one factor of authentication. So now we have three factors, right?
I have it. So cell phone, password, and fingerprints are multi-factors.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
All right. So hopefully it can get a bit confusing, but once you understand it, right, on certification exams, they can't trick you. And mostly they know this can get confusing, so they will bring out different versions of this question, and they all follow the same format. So if you get one wrong, you are going to get all 5 or all 6 wrong. All right, so that is a good lesson on multi-factor authentication. We are going to move. Go ahead, Ominim. I think your name on here says Ominim. Ominims.
Omims, yeah. Good
Omims.
evening. Yeah.
Good evening.
Doctor, I want to ask if you use the three what you are, like your fingerprints, your voice, and your facial, can it be easily compromised?
Can it be easily compromised?
Yes.
Yes. I mean, it's just one factor.
I know, but can it be easily compromised because it is what you are? So since you're using your voice, your fingerprint and your face, I think it's a little bit hard for someone to compromise that. I know it's one factor authentication, but I think it would be very difficult for one to be compromised.
Okay, so
what she's trying to say is because it's a person,
it's a person
associated with her, it will be difficult. But
yes, can I try to answer that one for you?
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
So look at it this way. Now, why it is not still secure is because, for instance, this person is held hostage, and then you let's say they put a gun to your head and say, now look at, maybe they want to access your bank account, and you have only those, like your fingerprint, your eye. As far as they have you, they can get everything. But if they have to send like a code to your email, you can say you don't have that email, right? Because that is another factor of authentication. Or if they have to generate a code from like your authenticator app and you don't have the mobile device with you, they cannot also get access to it. So it is not also safe to use the same factor of authentication like twice. And I think most financial institutions, they still make that mistake. Sometimes they want to send you a PIN to your mobile phone and also to your email. And they feel like that is enough for a multi-factor authentication, which I think is wrong too. So that's my contribution.
Yeah, thank you.
Doc, can I say something? This Nana out here.
Yes, go ahead, Nana.
Okay, so with the question that the lady asked, yes, with the introduction of this AI, you can't trust anything because your voice, your face, whatever can be captured and can always be used against you. So with the AI, current AI and current trend of technology, you don't want to play with it. That is why sometimes maybe if you have a bank account or online something, you pin your key, your password or whatever, they ask you to enter your phone number or email, and then they're gonna send you another passcode or PIN code or something for you to re-enter into second phase. For instance, if we are, maybe the doctor do has a code. Say before you join his class, first instance is join login with a password or facial or something. Then the second one will say, okay, it's going to send you a code or PIN onto your phone or your email. So when you get that one, you have 20 seconds or 50 seconds or 30 seconds or whatever to enter that code. If you're not able to do that, guess what? It means it's not you.
Great point.
Yeah, can I come in, please?
Yeah, go ahead, Andrew.
I mean, I want to buttress what the lady said. Why it is true multi-factor authentication is a good thing. It's a good security measure. The biometric authentication is the most secure, the highly secure form of authentication, because whatever you are is unique to you. That no one else can be you, especially when it comes to your fingerprint, when it comes to your maybe your facial recognition. It's just, no matter how you use AI to sort of circumvent that, it is highly impossible to be somebody else. Thank you.
I wouldn't
And
say
then even
that because
when
I
you're
had
sitting at a
cases where
Starbucks and you've drank on the glass and they just lift up your fingerprint. Oh, that's very easy to do. So the whole point of this is to make it harder for the hacker to get all the factors of authentication you're going to use. That's why you cannot use your face, your fingerprints, and whatever part of your body can be used for authentication. You cannot use all three. It makes no sense. You've already made it so easy for him. He can imitate your voice with AI. He can get your fingerprint, just lift it off from the glass you just drank from. He can just take pictures of your face. Like, it's easy. So that's why we want to make it hard for him. So he's going to have my phone, have my face, and also have a token that I have. So if he can get all three, then, oh man, he's good.
Right. There have been instances where people's facial, their phones, I've seen a couple of times that people's phones have been opened up using, different faces, but then they were made to understand that it was only their face that could open their phones.
Okay. So I think Momo was bringing up a very interesting point when Andrew said something you are is the most secured. Go ahead, Momo.
Yes, what I was saying is, take for instance, right, your fingerprint. No one fingerprint, every fingerprint is unique to every individual. That's why even security agencies within the United States, or the FBI, CIA, or whatever, when they want to know who you are, when they want to identify an individual, even at a crime scene, they look for fingerprints or maybe whatever that would give them lead to who committed a crime. So the goal, they use this secure means, this biometric means to get to find suspects for any crime committed. That's what I'm saying. I say why it is true that multi-factor authentication, like everyone's saying, I support that. That is a very good, security measure to make it harder for hackers to go into a system. But yet, the biometric authentication is highly secure. It's one of the most secure form of authentication. That's the point I want to make.
Okay.
Yeah, but right now, what is AI is doing is right now, sometimes your phone can be hacked. Remember, all the information you're talking about, biometric, whatever, everything is stored on your phone. So when it is hacked, guess what? All those information will be collected by the hackers and stored somewhere. So you can always use it and use AI to change it and have access to your data, your date of birth, social security, bank account. That is how the whole thing works. They will send some code to your phone or your link or something. Oh, you click it, bam, you get access to your phone. And it's still all those data from you. That is how it works.
Okay. So interesting point made by everybody. Now, well, I just want to chime in a little bit on biometrics being the most secured form of authentication. So something you are, right? It is unique to only you. But we should remember that we are going to use a system, or we are going to use technology to accept or reject our biometrics. So even though biometrics might come off as the most secured, it is really the most problematic form of authentication. Have you had, like, have you seen or have you witnessed you trying to use your facial recognition that you set up on your phone and it doesn't recognize you, or it recognizes somebody else as you and allows that person to have access to your phone, or you use your fingerprints and somebody else's use their fingerprints on your phone and it allows them? So we have something that we call false acceptance rate and false rejection rate. If your biometric system is not configured well, right, to hit the right point, which we call the crossover. Who remembers that crossover? What? The point
Crossover
where,
rate.
yes. So that is the sweet spot. Yes, like that is the sweet spot between your fail rate and your acceptance rate, right? That is the sweet spot where biometrics becomes very effective. So if your system is not configured well, and you are using, you are using all just biometrics, so your facial, your fingerprints and everything, and the system is not configured well, then it means if the false acceptance rate is high, then it's going to accept everybody's fingerprints or everybody's facial recognition. So they'll be able to authenticate and go through as if it was you, but it wasn't you. Simply because the system that that is accepting that data has not been configured right, or it has a high false acceptance rate. On the other hand, it might also have a high rejection rate, right? And that will be a false rejection rate. So even though it is you, you set up everything on the system, it's going to reject you and say it's not you, right? So biometrics, they can be very problematic if they are not configured well.
Yeah, I agree with you, Doctor. And I think my name is Nana. I went out with my wife this past weekend, and she had a makeup on, right? She was trying to just log into her phone with a makeup on. It didn't recognize her face because she had the makeup on. So the phone rejected her to accept her to log into her own phone account.
Okay, that is interesting.
I witnessed it this past Sunday. She was like, okay, can you look? I can't even log into my account because I have this makeup on my face. My lips is different from the original face.
Oh, okay.
Doc,
yes,
I think what he's alluding to, like any technology, right? There are margin of error. There's some, life of margin of error, right? But one thing every security company had to fine tune their rules, right?
Yes.
Ensure the rule is spot on, because this kind of technology has a propensity of maybe, causing the customer. So you will be in error sometimes, but oftentimes these technology are always right, But again, like for instance, we're coming to the airport, a friend of mine, she did surgery on her face, right? She went and did a nose reconstruction surgery, did her nose and all of that. Obviously, coming through immigration, coming through the port of entry, come back to the United States, they found out that the facial recognition software could not capture her original face from the new face she had. So they had to basically use her fingerprint to identify who she was. Because normally they will use just show your face to take a picture and it captures you and know that it is you. But because she did that nose surgery and mouth, whatever she did with her face, caused the software to sort of be in that kind of state of denial. Like, oh, I don't think it's you. It doesn't look like you. Yeah. So the guy who just mentioned that was right.
Okay.
So Doc, right, isn't that technology typically known to measure the proportion, not the proportions of the features, but it's more about the distance of one feature to another. It's more like measuring like spaces. It's not like it's noticing that, oh, your nose has changed shape. It's I don't know how to explain it, but it's more about distances or maybe proportions of the features. Isn't that how the technology is supposed to work? Please let me know.
Yeah,
I
so
don't think we are there yet.
it takes everything into consideration, right? Like the spaces between your eye, space between your mouth and your, like all of that together with everything else. Right? So just like how you will see Dr. Edu and say, oh yeah, I think that is Dr. Edu. Similar way, but this is more like accurate if you want to put it that way. Now that is if it is configured right. But for how you set it up, so that is why for your biometrics, if it will mostly let you, maybe show your face 2 or 3 times, or even for your fingerprints, it will ask you like put it there, put it again. So it will be able to, pick up. So even if you make a mistake and you put one side of your fingers, it still picks it up, right? Once you have like input all that information. So going back to Momo, biometric, if it is configured right, can be the most accurate because nobody is you. You are you, right? But if there is a glitch, then it's either going to allow everybody in or reject everybody. So Dale, please go ahead.
Oh, thank you, Doctor. So I just want to make a little contribution. So I have an iPhone and I discovered that my son can always unlock my phone. So I don't know why, but I think there is a glitch in the system. So despite that my phone is locked, I need my face to unlock it. My son takes the phone, and with his phone, with his face, he can unlock it.
Maybe your son looks too much like you. I think maybe that is the problem right there. He looks probably exactly like. So
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe that will be the answer to that. Yes, but interesting discussion. Let's wrap this up and then we open the floor to everybody to ask their questions. So multi-factor authentication, one of the ways for us to thwart the effort of attackers. Now, awareness training, I cannot stress on that enough, right? Mostly for the discussion that we are having right now on multi-factor authentication, our focus is just on technology. Awareness training focuses on the people aspect of the equation, which is the most problematic, right? People are the ones who are always going to be curious and be clicking on things they don't have to be clicking on. You can trick people, you can't trick technology, you can't trick processes. So awareness training, like what we are doing now, everybody is very much aware of these tricks that attackers are trying to pull on us. So if you receive an email, it's like a DocuSign, and you are not expecting anything like that, you are going to pay attention and not just click on it and try to sign something that you didn't expect to even sign, right? And then also set security default. So on our system that we are using, just like how when you get your phone, it'll ask you to set, for your new phone, when you're setting it up, it'll ask you to set a password. It'll ask you to put your facial recognition or put another factor of authentication on there. So that should be our default, right? That should be our default. If you don't put anything on there in terms of, password or something to secure our system, then we will always run into that problem or that issue of people being able to take over our, our emails in this case, right? So multi-factor authentication is not only good for your emails, but good for everything else that you have, your network, your phones, your tablets, name it. If you have it on there, it's harder. So just like what Deo was saying. So if Deo, so your son is able to have access to your phone because you only have one factor of authentication on there. That is the facial recognition. But if you have facial recognition together with a PIN, so whenever it is clear, like whenever you put your face on there and it says you are good, the next step is for you to enter the PIN. Then nobody will be able to get in if they have to know the PIN and have your face, right? But mostly for everybody, and I'm also, part of this, we want the easy way out, right? You just want to take your phone and start using it. It just picks your face and you start using it, right? You don't want to type in your PIN and then it will send you another pin on your email and then you have to type, right? Nobody wants to go through that just to, open your phone to do something real quick and put it down again. So we just do either facial recognition or we just do maybe some 4 digits and, like or do some sign on there and we'll be on a happy way. But if we are practicing multi-factor on our phone also as well, then nobody really can have access to it. So when you sleep, your son cannot just pick your phone and show it on your face. It opens for them, or just pick your fingers and put it on there and it opens and they are playing games on it the whole time because they couldn't sleep. So with that, we are going to move on to probably the last 2 items that we are looking at for how to prevent these types of attacks. So use email authentication tools. So some of the email authentication tools, there are a whole host of them. Some of them, your SPFs, your DKIMs, and your DMA, RC, or DMAX, right? And we are going to look at what they are briefly, and you can dive more deep into these types of email authentications. And then also we have to adopt a secured payment platform. So when most companies who are falling victim to this, mostly they are falling victims on the invoice side of the house, right? They have to pay a company of some sort, and then attackers will intercept, send a bogus email, bogus invoice with a different payment instructions, and the payment will go to somebody else, right? But what if these companies, they were not going back and forth with invoices, and they had a secure payment channel where they will have to be able to, like, you have to be able to have, you have to authenticate into that system to see the invoice, and then payments will also have to go the same way, right? Rather than sending me the invoice and I have to manually go into my bank's website to do the wire transfer, or to call my bank to do the wire transfer, or manually go there in person to do the wire transfer. If we have a system that we do this communication on, attackers wouldn't be able to send us fake invoices. Right? So let's jump into, sorry about that, let's jump into some of the, so tonight is kind of like the authentication night, but we are not doing authentication, but it's good learning for all of us. So the sender policy framework is, this is the first time you're hearing about it. It's an email authentication solution that we use to verify the server from which the email is coming from, right? So like on our systems, we can allow certain types of servers or certain types of traffic when it comes to email to get onto our email servers. And a way that we do that is to use the sender policy framework, which is going to authenticate the email that is coming in. And if it's good, it allows it in. If not, it prevents it from coming, right? Now, on the other hand, the DKIM or DKIM is also used to verify the integrity of the email that is being sent, right? So the sender will not encrypt, but they will digitally sign the email. So when we receive it and like the seal is broken, then we will know the email is not as it was when it was initially sent. So that is used to also enforce good email security, right? And then we have DMARC, where DMARC is a combination of, takes into consideration your SPF and then also your DKIM, and uses that kind of to have a strategy for your email setup in terms of checking the source of the email, and then also doing authentication, not doing authentication, but verifying the integrity of the email that is coming in. So you can dig more into this and learn more about email security and some of the solutions that are out there. So with that, we are going to move into business email compromise protection. How do we overall protect ourselves? Right. So in today's day and age, AI has come to stay. So we can protect ourselves and our organizations by using solutions that can detect suspicious emails, such as Microsoft Defender and others. We can use tools to do authentication, like we just looked at some of the tools. And this will help to prevent spoof email addresses from being able to get into those who easily be pushed into. Then also, please mute yourself. You can use email to AI to we can use AI to model each person's email pattern, right? So anything that goes outside your normal norm of emails, how many emails you're accepting and what type of emails, AI will be able to figure that out and alert you on some of these malicious emails that will be coming your way. And then also we have to configure our email protection. For this, I'll say for most companies, you might think they have everything covered, but you have to go in there and make sure you are not allowing or you are not using default settings for whatever email systems you are using when it was, put on your servers or when it was put on your infrastructure, right? So we have to make sure we are always going in there and changing our defaults, and then also using solutions that will help us to really identify some of these emails way ahead of time. And when it comes to investigation also, we have tools to be able to detect false positives ahead of time also as well, and also identify scammers in such events and in such situations, right? So these are some of the ways that we can protect ourselves, our emails, from falling victim to business email compromise. And with that, we are wrapping up for tonight. So for everybody who came in a bit late, we have a WhatsApp group. We are almost at 1,000. You can join for such discussions on the group, and then also for everything that we do, cyber chats, everything that we do in the security space, you are also going to be in there. Also, if you are trying to get onto the security field or you are already in the field, we kindly invite you to join our Eretmis Cyber Security group. And then also for our YouTube, we are hitting 100K this weekend. So keep sharing for us. You can subscribe as well. Everything that we are doing tonight is being posted, is being streamed live on the YouTube channel as well. Right? And if you are looking to join our cybersecurity entry level course because you want to break into cybersecurity, you are more than welcome. Check out our free course on our website, Cybersecurity for Beginners, and then the main course is Cybersecurity Entry Level course. And then also, if you are looking to specialize in an area of cybersecurity, our PCI DSS course is the way to go. We do live sessions twice a week, and then we also have internship that comes with it. Now, for all our courses, they all come with internship as well. We have internship for our cybersecurity entry level course as well. And then we have an internship/workshop that you can also join as well. Our interns, current interns, our next graduation is going to be not this weekend, but next weekend. And so we are wrapping up. This is all the details for Eretmis. We are going to post it in there as well, in here as well. So we are going to open the floor for questions and contributions. So please go ahead if you have questions. So whilst we are waiting for questions to come in, we are just going to give a quick shout out to everyone who joined us. So we have Eric from Toronto, from Canada. We have Faisal from North Carolina, Ohio, Andrew from Chicago, Maryland, Bula, Dion from St. Louis, and Rosie from MD, South Africa, Luma, New Jersey, Sapon. We have Ora from Texas, and Reginald from Texas, Andrew from Pittsfield, and Malachi, Ohio, from Maryland. We have Lavette, UK, Ham, Atlanta, Emmanuel from Texas, Vincent, Texas, Samuel, Ohio, Beatrice from Maryland, Paris, Kwame from Paris, Nicole, Atlanta. We have Jane from Is that Florida? Okay. And NYC, we have Ronnie from NYC, and the list goes on. Frank from Connecticut, and Old Bridge, New Jersey. Walt. We have Michael from Atlanta, and the list goes on. Nigeria, Frank from Nigeria. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Now we are going to move into the questions. Go ahead, Samuel, and then Momo will go.
Yeah, so Doc, I have two questions. One is the DocuSign email that you got. Do we have any tools out there, like if you want to do your own investigations, right? Do we have any tools out there to do your own investigations to find out if the SPF fails, if the DKIM fails, or if the DMAC fails? And then the second question is about the renewal of the CompTIA Security Plus. How can we use, I think I was talking to Michael about this the other day. How can we use these webinars to do our risk certifications? But I think I'm getting confused about the risk certification thing using all these webinars. So I don't know whether you can share an input. I know time is fast spent, but
okay, so we can talk offline on that. So mostly,
okay,
you take screenshots of the training that you went through. So for like webinars, you take screenshots, and then also I think if we can give you like a list of all the webinars that you've completed together with the hours and all that. So there are like 2 or 3 ways of going about it. Now on their website, they state exactly, the different ways that they accept, and you can use any of those, right? So I think we have 3 or 4 or 5 people on here who have used that to recertify. So, but get with Michael. Mostly when Michael was in the lead, he will. But we even had it in the slides where we're going ways of doing it. So get with Michael. Michael can walk you through on that side.
Okay.
Go ahead,
then,
Mo.
my
Go
second
ahead.
Doc, I've been in financial management, like I said, for over 70 years, financial management. So I recently got a master's in computer science, and my focus was in cybersecurity from Norfolk State University. So the goal is to switch my career, since I'm so tired with finance, moving into computer science, specifically cybersecurity. So I've started, I've done a lot of different study on my own, and before I got in contact with your courses and stuff. And I'm building a lab using Raspberry Pi, to sort of do a lot of different things with it. But I'm kind of stuck somewhere. Is there a possibility to ask of your knowledge when it comes to that, or do I have to do a one-on-one conversation on that lab that I'm currently because it's like I'm self-tutoring, right? But I think having come across you, it seems like every day when I get on this live podcast every week, I sort of have a broader knowledge, open knowledge when it comes to the workings of cybersecurity. Since I have a general knowledge on computer science, how do I go about I get stuck sometimes because I already bought my Raspberry Pi computer, the little motherboard stuff, and I have all the tools. I'm configuring a lot of different things, but I get stuck. I get lost sometimes. So do I have to do a one-on-one with you, or is it something I just abandon and just take one of your internship course and be able to shoot right into it?
Okay, so we put like the contact info on here, so you can make an appointment and we will discuss more into your situation, right? Sometimes the issue that you can run into with self-study with not necessarily any guidance from anyone within the industry is you can be going in circles, right? So my question to you, and not to really dig too much into it, but what really is your goal? Which area in security?
Oh, you coming in like
in and
your
out.
voice.
Okay. So
yeah.
I was asking, what is your end go, right? What job titles are you looking for, or what area in security are you trying to get into?
I'm trying to be a cybersecurity a threat analyst. This is what I want to get into. Yeah.
Threat analyst.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm trying to basically I'm trying to use a lot of different SIMs, the security information and event management tools. So I'm looking from using this lab and using different kinds of SIM on it, like maybe Splunk and all the different SIMs that are out there. But to set it up first is the one, that is like, I'm getting a lot of problems. So I think I need guidance, because instead of me just trying to just do this on my own and think that I can just read through stuff and make it happen.
Yeah. So just pick the information in the chart and make an appointment, and you talk to one of us, and we will run you through. Maybe probably like discuss your overall goals and see what is going to best fit, what you are looking for.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. Leonard, please go ahead.
Yes. Hi, Dr. Adu.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. So I had an interview last Thursday, which was yesterday, with a PCI for a PCI role. And the interview was not very technical, but I was selected for a second round interview, and I will be interviewing next week on Tuesday with the CISO, who is the VP. And I'm pretty sure that is going to be pretty technical, but I reached out to you on WhatsApp. I sent the job description and just some more information about the job, but I was selected for a second interview.
Okay,
and I'd
so
really like to do well.
Yeah, let's talk on make the one-on-one.
Okay, I can do that.
Questions, and then let's do one on Monday also as well.
Okay, you went out for a moment. I'm sorry, I didn't.
Okay, yeah. So I was saying like let's do one-on-one on Monday, but I'll get to the WhatsApp, or somebody will get to you as soon as possible, right? But for CISO, the interview is also going to be more soft skills based than technical.
You think so? Because the first one was pretty much all soft skills related.
Yeah, and the first one was with who?
She was the compliance manager.
So that should have been more technical.
We touched on some technical aspects, but it wasn't very technical to me. I was just kind of giving her a rundown of what I have experience in my background.
Okay, but mostly folks in the C-suites, are trying to see that you are not crazy.
Okay.
So you can be the most technical person. If they think you are crazy, they're not moving on. And not crazy, not in the sense of crazy, right? But they are trying to measure if you're additional culture.
Yes.
Right.
I'm crazy about cybersecurity.
Yes, like they don't want somebody who is like your stuff, right? But you can't work with anybody.
Right.
You have this mindset, just me, like a team of me, right? They'll rather pick somebody who is maybe 50%, but 120%. We can work with anybody. They can diffuse any situation. They know how to
approach. Yeah, because she did say there's a lot of collaborations.
Yes.
With other members.
Yes, and there are a lot of. We have some of our especially PCI folks on here. The most difficult part of the PCI job is not the technical. If you go to our training, that like the technical portion. Now, the most difficult thing that you're going to encounter on the job is chasing people around for evidence.
Right.
People will ignore your emails. They'll pretend they wasn't in the meeting on Monday and they are supposed to submit some, and you are like scratching your head like, what is going on? Did they not hear what I said? And people are just giving you roadblock. No, we can't give you the network diagram.
Prof, can I say something?
Yes, go ahead, Kwame.
So with the PCI, as the prof said, it's nothing basic. It's not like nothing technical that you have to be doing. But then it's just a matter of what you're looking for, and then you're reaching out to the department. If it's say a network department, right? I need a diagram of the scoping diagram stuff, but they get your email all right. But as to how to respond to you, that is a problem. So you have to be patient and know how to communicate with them based on all the. So you are the center person, just collecting all the information, putting them together, and then presenting to the QSA to just take the information and do. So it's nothing like they're going to ask you what is this. They are not going to ask you any of those things. Just how to organize yourself and how to engage people from left to right. And if is running you late, what do you do? Are you just going to go bananas at them on one at them, or you just going to still keep your patient and be like, hey, I need this. This is a time factor. We have like 3 weeks to go. Can we Zoom? Or if you have any available time that they have, you're going to work around your schedule to meet up with them. And that is a problem that I'm facing right now. I've met with a couple of them, spoken to them. Everything sounds like tomorrow you are getting your folder, and then you no email, you try to get a Zoom, and it's crazy. But then we have to still get it done. So don't panic, but Dr. Edu got your back.
Right. Yes.
All right,
Thank you.
All right. So yes, we will talk offline.
Oh, okay, great. I'll schedule it.
You're coming up breaking though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So just to add a little bit more to what Dr. Edu just said, Lenny, is that the name? Did I say the name right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I had a similar situation. My first interview, I went all the way to the CISO. I thought about technical skills. So that's what I learned. That's what I learned. But when I got there, man, it's all about soft skills. And because because I focused much on technical skills, I didn't pay much attention to the soft skills. But that doesn't mean the CISO is not going to ask you more of the technical aspect. But just to add it to what they are saying, just focus more on the soft skills aspect of the interview, of the second interview. Pretty much is going to help.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Thank you, Samuel. So, like when I say he's going to, or CISO or anybody in the top of the company, they are more concerned about soft skills, organizational fit, you being a good fit for the company, right?
Yeah.
That also doesn't mean they cannot, they wouldn't love to pick your brain on
technical skills, yeah.
Right. So like they can pick your brain, but not in a hard, like in a very hard pool when it comes to somebody who is just doing a technical interview. Right? Yep. So that doesn't mean you are not going in with no technical knowledge or skills at all. At least you have some of it, but your interview is going to be centered on, trying to see if you're a good fit for the company. So for everybody on here, just pick something from that also.
And like you the current 4.0 version of the PC, what is out there, you just have to use that and then make a story. And he's going to ask you, so when it comes to PCI, what do you know? Then there's a new version that came out, the 4.0. What changes you may have learned? Just throw something at him. And once you speak to him like that, he's like, oh no, he knows what he's talking about, and that's it.
Thank you, Kwame. I think
Okay, Doctor, can I come in? Yeah, I have something.
Yes, go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I have an interview on Monday by 11:30. Compliance analyst. I'm just driving, but I'm listening. But I would like to have one-on-one with you, so we can be able to share the JD, so that we can know what to do.
Okay, so you can take the link also and make an appointment on Monday.
I have the interview on 11:30 Monday.
Yeah, but you are just telling me about it.
Yeah, Doctor, can I ask something, please?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Okay, thank you. I was going to say something to the lady. I mean, going all the way to a CISO, then it means that probably the CISO is just coming to confirm something. It's not going to be, and trust me, it's not going to be anything difficult, as Kwame said and Dr. has said. I mean, he's just coming to, it means that you've actually had about 80%, and he's just coming to confirm your soft skills and stuff. And as Kwame said, I mean, how you gather your information, when you send emails to people, if they are not responding, what do? You know, that kind of stuff. Because where I work, I figured out that emails, whenever when you send them emails, they don't respond. So now I take to Teams. I would rather, instead of when I send them the first email, I will reach out to them on Teams and then engage them. You see that you are getting results from them, or I'll call you when I need something. That one will get you those results. So you want to look at those areas. I mean, how to get information from your colleagues or something. Yeah, that's what I want to do.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Appreciate everybody's input. So we are wrapping up now. Ucheba, you can probably send the job and then we like the best that we question and possible answers. But for one-on-one on the calendar, I think we'll start on Sunday. So please, when you have interviews, please make sure you are reaching out way ahead of time, right? Because to give yourself time to prep. If we do one-on-one and you to look at, you don't have that time, right? So give yourself time, at least 3 to 4 days, because you don't want to blow. You want to give your best as possible, right? Don't think I'm just gonna walk over this one and then another one come. Maybe probably this was like the chance that you had to take, but you just, because of lack of preparation, you just let it go, right? So we are wrapping up for tonight. I appreciate everybody's time. Have a great and wonderful weekend. We will meet again next week for another edition of Cyber Chats. And I hope everybody learned something. We all learned something new or expanded on our knowledge base tonight. And like I always say, Friday night, you could have been anywhere else, but you chose to be here. And we appreciate it. And we hope it was a useful hour and a half. It's almost like 2 hours now that we all share together. And I appreciate every single one of you. We'll meet again next week. God willing, have a great weekend. Good night, everyone.
Good night. Thank you, General. Good night.
All right, thank you, both.
Good night. Thank you, Dr.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.